Man from Toronto.
That's right. Good for Toronto too, I mean, Canada.
Get some Canadian.
That's right. Living in our shadow, Too. Hey, we got stuff too. Yeah, we're dangerous too.
Well, that's probably why he calls himself the Man in Toronto, because no one in Canada is threatening. So
that's right.
It brings their expectations down, and then come at me, Canada.
We might
no regrets.
Send the moose on you. Yeah, cut it out.
Bring your Mounties.
Please.
I'll take them. Welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket List. First things first, before we get started, a little PSA. Ryan Meyerberg has gone missing. Call all the alarms, sound all of them. We need all information can be sent to a certain number here.
Time out on the court, man.
He's just on vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to scale back on that true crime documentaries, man.
I need to check my emails more.
Yeah.
Okay, I just thought he was missing in action there for a second.
No,
but,
he's on.
He's just on vacation. Well, hopefully he'll be back next week.
He's eating Detroit-style pizza. That's what's happening.
That's right. While doing a speed run of Mario. In the Black Hills.
But, Ryan is missing this week. Not actually legally speaking, but he's just gone. So we got some really cool people here to fill in. You recognize that guy, DJ Matty C, Matt Callahan from Minnesota Sports Live. And joining us as well is the Kerf Doctor, Dylan Kerfman, all SMSU alum here today. How's it feel to be back in the old stomping grounds? You guys were kind of already talking earlier. You literally, the second you walked in, you were reminiscing about where you were sitting and everything.
Yeah, as soon as we pulled into the first parking lot of like the 20 parking lots to get in here, we were just reminiscing too. It was just like, time machine. Yeah.
I remember sitting right here for doing sports not too long ago. Well, 6 years ago. So, that's a long time ago.
But last time you were here, Mr. Callahan, you had some words. Still, do you feel like you've gotten it off your chest, or do you need to say some more?
Well, I was hoping for a response from our good friend Mitch, but apparently not. Apparently he's too busy playing Pretty Princess instead of addressing this thing.
He was too busy dressing himself in jewelry instead of addressing this. Yes,
because Dylan wasn't the only one doing the documentary.
I think Mitch was great with what he said. I think he was spot on.
And with the counterpoint.
That's right,
the counterpoint.
I think his instincts were right, too, But thanks for your help on it. He liked my comment on the little short you put together.
So technically,
he kind of responded, but he didn't respond to you.
Yeah, that's almost more cowardly than saying something.
That is true.
Now you're just standing behind the man.
He's
just yes-manning Dylan right now.
I just want a conversation. Just a conversation and say, listen.
We're here to heal on Popcorn Bucket List.
Exactly.
We're here to bring people together, possibly in competition. I don't know. I might be organizing a boxing match between these two.
Well, you guys got that competition going at the games. Yeah.
Or a boxing match, too.
Boxing would be great. UFC is the hot thing right now, so we might as well cash in on it.
YouTubers are doing it all the time. I'm just saying, Matt v. Mitch in the ring. No rounds, just till knockout.
Yep.
Yeah. Easier to keep track of that way.
Yeah, I think that would make sense.
We don't even have to record it. It'd just be for me. But
Right. I mean, you do what you want, I guess.
But it's great to have you guys on here. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us. Absolutely.
Yeah. Looking forward to talking to some movies with you guys here. I'm looking forward to some good conversation. So let's kick things off with Thursday, June 23rd. Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. That is the opening here that we got. First movie we're going to talk about, coming straight to Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
I personally have never.
Nick.
Everyone knows what they sound. Even if you don't watch Beavis and Butthead, you know what they are because you're like.
It's just.
I've never gotten the appeal of it, but it clearly has a fan base.
Yeah,
because they're still making content. So.
Yeah, it definitely is, and is Paramount Plus starting to be like the actual front runner now with all these streaming?
You gotta think so.
Everything's going to Paramount Plus, like that Halo series.
True,
we've talked about.
Halo is on there. Yeah. South Park is doing some exclusive content. Yellowstone is on there.
SpongeBob SquarePants is on there.
Yes, the GOAT. We're gonna be honest here.
That's true.
That's the cash cow. That's their office. Is Paramount Plus. They got the office. That's their SpongeBob's their office. But I agree though too. They're taking over the world. Here we thought Netflix, and then and because it was CBS All Access,
right.
And we discovered on my TV it had a subscription that we forgot about. So while he was paying $10 for a few months, we didn't know about it.
Actually, it was $5.
It was $5. Oh, better yet. Well, that's good.
That's how Paramount Plus became the top echelon. Nobody knew they were subscribed to it.
That's right. That's right.
That's how they did it.
You know, that's how they get you too. But going back to the Beavis and Butthead thing, I would say, you know, I think that's gonna, with the fan base and everything, with that whole deal with those guys. I think it's, you know, there are some funny aspects, but you know, when's enough? You know what I mean? Sometimes you just gotta. It's kind of like I remember you guys talking about the Morbius thing. You know, it kind of like similar to that. Just like, oh, we really re-released it, but I think people like it because of all the memes and things like that. But like Beavis and Butthead, it's like, how many movies do they have? Like, this is crazy. But
I mean, how much can you laugh awkwardly to each other too?
How many seasons of the show does? I mean, because
it started the show too.
Like all these animated shows really started like around the same time. At some point in the 90s, really.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a miracle they're still churning out. What a great voice acting gig though too. Like, all right, we need a whole season of you guys laughing back and forth. Maybe like 20 sentences total for the season, but that's it.
But opening Friday, June 24th, we're starting off a little scarier here. The Black Phone coming out in theaters. Ethan Hawke with a 1-2 punch of creepy characters this summer. First Moon Knight, and now this. I mean, I guess that's probably easier as an actor if you're just kind of creepy one character, just kind of keep moving forward into the next one. But do you think you'll have glass and issues in this one too?
I don't know.
Do they ever address that in Moon Knight? I know we'll talk about the Black Phone here in a second, but I want to talk about Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Do they ever address the glass in the shoes thing? That's like the opening shot, and they never really did anything with it.
I don't think they ever explained that.
I think there was an Easter egg in Cinderella that talked about it, you know, and if you look closely, you could see like a painting with them. It's the glass slipper.
Just leave it to Dylan to talk about
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. But the Black Phone, kind of. It looks interesting, and that's saying something coming from me, who is not a fan of the horror genre, or the thriller, scary kind of genre. Some supernatural elements here, multiple, I would say, even.
100%. Yeah, no, it's interesting because I think you're right. We're all three in the same boat. Like, I'm intrigued by them, you know, but then I regret it that night. I'm like turning on lights frantically. I'll admit, you know, like, you know, for at least a couple weeks after a scary movie, but. I tell you, this does look really good. Like, I kind of would like to. I think it's like manageable because it's just such a good that psychological thriller element. It's a neat concept, kind of with the room. I mean, there's a gazillion, but the character he seems from what we've seen in the trailer, very, very good at being creepy. And
Ethan Hawke, you know, how many movies he's done? Northman, he's done. Moon Knight, now he's doing this one. And then is Sam Raimi doing or is he he's not directing, is he? They mentioned something about the multiverse, so it's MCU confirmed, so you can put that stamp on if you need to. We'll see.
It should be good, and it's probably the last landline in the country too, you know? I mean, hey, good for them.
Not just landline, like one of those spin dial landline. Like that is...
I don't know, Verizon, Sprint, whoever's got it, but
that is the oldest school of old school.
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
Also coming out that weekend is Elvis. This is a biopic on the King of Rock and Roll starring Tom Hanks, directed by Baz Luhrmann, who is probably best known for Moulin Rouge, Great Gatsby, those kind of movies. The thing I'll say about Baz Luhrmann, I'm not the biggest fan of his films, at least the ones where he goes all out, because... They say you have 5 senses in the human body. Yeah. He hits all of them at 100% and also somehow finds a way to 6th one to hit you too with just all the visuals and sound that he does with his. So it's a little much for me. But if you've seen his other movies, this movie actually kind of looks tame. But yet it still looks fantastical. Like it's the King of Rock and Roll. It has to be. He put on the biggest shows and everything, even before he was like famous, like the King. Yeah. Like he was a controversial figure, and it looks like the movie's going to really delve into that as well.
Yeah, it's amazing too. I'm surprised actually that it's been 2022 that there's really been a serious Elvis film. I mean, I'm sure there's been other attempts, but it's great to see because no doubt that legacy. You're right, the grandeur of it too. It does have that Gatsby feel too of the display, and really what'll be interesting too is, I mean, Tom Hanks. Good grief, that guy can play anybody. Him and Meryl Streep, you know, like if we had to put a time capsule of our timeline of okay, you can only pick 2 actors, and we're going to Mars for your whole movie industry. Those 2 I'm sending in the time capsule.
And I think you mentioned Tom Hanks and everything, but this Austin Butler guy, I've never heard of him until this movie.
I saw a thing, like it was some video where like you may not recognize him, but you've seen him before. He was like in an episode of iCarly.
That was it?
I don't know if that was it, but that was like one of his only big things he had before that.
Nice.
Well, interesting.
So
good for him.
Yeah.
What a leap. That's great.
Yeah, and then to get the voice down too, like, you know, then obviously to know like a lot of the songs too. I think, you know, from what I've noticed, it seems like he's really gone in with this role, and like I think he's trying to hit a home run here. Because,
you think he did a Heath Ledger, lock himself away for a few weeks, or?
I think that's what the case was, because I remember them saying like he's still talking like Elvis to people now, like right now.
Really? Wow.
I think I don't know.
That
Correct
is
me if I'm
commitment.
wrong.
Yeah.
But he was really committed to the role and everything like that. So I wonder, you know, I'm curious to see if he gets up for an Oscar or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be his big break.
I hope he isn't staying in character because he thinks there's going to be a sequel. Because spoiler alert, that story doesn't end.
Yeah.
And you brought up there's not a lot of Elvis biopics. I almost wonder if that's the reason why. It's because he was like one of the biggest stars, but unfortunately, just due to circumstance, had one of the least like I don't know how to say this really, like just not a great ending to a story.
Yeah, kind of a bummer ending in that too.
Also coming out that weekend, The Man from Toronto. This is a direct-to-Netflix movie, comedy starring Kevin Hart and Woody Harrelson. Kevin Hart's character gets caught in a case of mistaken identity where people think he is the infamous hitman known as The Man from Toronto. I don't know if this was just a regular joke in the movie or if this was actually what happened, but he like walks into the wrong Airbnb. Yeah. I don't know if he was just saying that as a joke or if that's like actually what, like he was actually just going to an Airbnb. He's got luggage, so I think he was.
I think so from looking at that trailer.
Yeah. It just goes to show you want to confirm your Airbnb before you go in there too. Cause
I've heard some Airbnb stories.
Yeah,
people watching know who I'm talking about. Nothing this bad, but like I'm kind of questioning ever getting an Airbnb. Like the last thing I want to see is I'm gonna rewatch this trailer at the very end. It's gonna be like loosely based on a true story or something like that. I'm like,
that's right.
That's it. I'm never going to Airbnb again.
Yeah.
I don't care how crappy or sketchy the hotel is.
Right.
It's got to be better than this.
Motel 6 has got to be better.
Yeah, this sucks.
They got lights there.
But yeah, I think Woody Harrelson's such an interesting actor because he has kind of these two levels of so like stonerish, I guess is the best way to say it. But then he's got like so intense. Here we're getting intense.
Yeah.
And I like that version as well.
Yeah, I think Woody Harrelson, he's got so much range, too. I mean, him being a hitman, I think he can play almost any type of role, I feel like, because we've seen him in, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and he was good as Cletus Cassidy, I thought. The whole movie in general, I know, Nick, you weren't a huge fan of it, but, just from the acting, parts of...
He was my favorite part. He was my favorite part.
All right, then we'll go with that. But... I think with him being paired with Kevin Hart, I don't know how that dynamic's going to work because I feel like there's some guys that work well together. I'm not saying Kevin Hart's bad or anything, but I feel like we've seen this type of movie before.
Yeah, like they're trying to emulate something. Yeah. And even the trailer, how they were cutting it to, it just... Yeah, they're like trying to get that, I don't know, the buddy cop feel or something.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised when I clicked on this that it wasn't Dwayne Johnson that was the hitman,
exactly.
I guess. It almost felt like he couldn't do this one.
It's
and they were
almost,
like, well, who do we got available? Well, Woody's around. Let's just use Woody.
Yeah. Well, it's going straight to Netflix, too, so let's remember that.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some good Netflix. I'm not saying it's going to, it might. I mean, it definitely might, but we'll see. I think it all depends on the dynamic between Kevin Hart, Woody Harrelson, I think, for this.
And finally coming out that weekend, Rise, coming straight to Disney+. This is a scripted film based on a true story about three brothers. I believe they were born in Nigeria. They immigrated to Greece. They grew up in Athens, Greece for a little bit while, and then eventually were recruited to the NBA. All three brothers all becoming a part of championship-winning basketball teams recent, I believe.
Yep.
So I think the story is great. I love this story. I didn't really get into this in the Elvis one because I knew I was going to get into this one. I do not like these movies based on true stories. I'd rather just, and this is going to sound so nerdy, I'd rather watch the documentary. Yeah. Because the documentary is like, you have to be accurate with all that. Otherwise you get called out. For some reason, I don't know where this was decided. Movies get this pass where like you can adjust the story and either A, you didn't care to look it up, or B, you did, and it's just like, well, we did it for story purposes. like this, my biggest gripe with this was with Bohemian Rhapsody. Mm-hmm. They changed that dude's timeline of his real life timeline so much, but like it was aspects like, I'm like, this dude, you changed when he was diagnosed with AIDS, the thing that killed him, and tried to make it so it was a gut punch ending when he wasn't diagnosed till well after this point. Yeah. Like, to me, that's just disrespectful. And so that's why I've kind of always had a bad taste with these biopics about these movies with, so as much as I love this story, now I'm going to watch it. I'm going to be like, all right, let's start researching what they changed, what they do, how much of this is authentic. Because with a documentary, it's like, all right, it's all got to be true. It's all got to be there. With a movie like this or a biopic, you're like, okay, this all is accurate. This part isn't accurate at all. This part never happened. This part's half accurate. And then the ending kind of stuck it or whatever. So that's kind of my rant on that.
Yeah. Well,
amen.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah. Thank you. So this story, Giannis Antetokounmpo is kind of the, I wouldn't say he's the main, him and his other brothers. So like one of his brothers is on the Milwaukee Bucks. And then I think the other brother, I think Costas or something like that. I can't remember.
I thought I read two of them were in the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah. One was with the
Kings, the G League.
Yeah.
So he was with the G, and it's an interesting story because he, a lot of people are thinking, oh, he's from Athens, Greece. These guys aren't going to be good. No, they are very good. They are very good because when Giannis was drafted to the Bucks, people thought, oh, okay, this guy's going to be, okay, he's going to be a role player. No, he's a star. He's a freaking star. And he built up 55 pounds of muscle. And the guy is just a tank. I mean, he's just built. And, the Milwaukee Bucks, won the NBA Finals not too long ago. But like you said, with the documentary aspect not being in this, I'm a little afraid of that too. I'm not going to lie. I do agree with you because I don't know if some things will be accurate, if some things, will be kind of off base, but we'll see. I don't know. I think it, with the Disney Plus, stamp on it and everything like that, and that being connected with ESPN as well, since it's all part of the whole bundle,
giant network.
So, talk about the streaming wars. Like, they're just a coalition at this point.
Yeah, it's a coalition. So
the mouse.
Yeah, the mouse rules all.
Done.
And he's got
the mouse. I have a market share. 55%.
Just add more to the Infinity Gauntlet.
That's
for
right.
Mickey.
On the Monopoly, which we, by the way, own.
That's right. That makes sense. No wonder.
It was staring us in the face the whole time.
Gosh, that makes
we'll
a lot
see.
of sense.
I think it's. I think it might be good though.
Yeah.
So.
And again, like I said, I think the story is inspiring as heck.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd rather. And it's such a nerdy thing to say because I get it. Everyone's like, "Oh, the documentaries are boring." Yeah, but they're right. I'm sorry to say, most things in this world that are boring are right.
Yeah,
that's just
true.
how it works.
And there's a lot of great documentaries too. I mean, we're a couple of PBS employees here, where we see documentaries all day too. And I mean, just the amount of stuff that's coming out.
Well, and actually, since you're here on that subject, the documentary we were kind of referring to earlier, in an alternate timeline, if you had made that as like a scripted film, how disrespectful would that have been if you had changed story elements of people that you knew, real life people who had these experiences and everything? But you guys did it as a documentary, and I'm assuming you kept your integrity and was making it accurate and everything.
Yeah.
Try to. You're right. I mean, it would just
Dylan did it all. Remember? Okay.
That's right. Yeah, assault of all. Yeah, I really was looking for just the character arc. So I wanted to spice it up. Went a little prose.
I'm gonna rewatch that documentary, and you're gonna be like, one of them was diagnosed with cancer. None of them were diagnosed with cancer. But like stuff like that is what they do with like scripted films and everything. I'm like, but that didn't happen, and this is a real life person. Like, how would I feel if they did that?
Exactly. And that's the thing, you're right, with documentary, like in our case too, is we're able to tell all the elements there too and give them the justice. Because it would just eat you up if you did it. Definitely would have eaten us up if we had not told it right. So, yeah, because, based on a true story, you want to talk about reminiscing SMSU.
Yeah.
We had media law. I don't know if you were in that with me there, too.
Yep.
We did it online. So this is my little legal flex here. I'm not a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer.
But the one thing in the textbook that was not legally binding said basically it's pretty loose, that based on a true story. So you're right.
Let's move right into some number one recommends here. We're running a little long here today, which is great because I love talking to you guys and everything. So let's do some number one recommend in here. Let people know what to watch. Matt, why don't you take us away? Why don't you go first?
Sure. Yeah. So my recommend, and I didn't know if I'd like this series, to be honest with you, but Succession on HBO. I've been watching that a little bit with the Roy family. Waystar Royco. It's just basically a family that has this business, this media business actually, which is very interesting. And basically it's just them. They're basically backstabbing each other pretty much. Is like, the dad's not fit for, this anymore. He's getting sick, blah, blah, blah. But he doesn't want to leave. Every sibling thinks that they can take over, and then they try and craft these ways in order to get to where they want to go and be the top person in the company. And there's all these side stories and things like that, but it's very interesting. That's probably my one recommend.
Dylan, why don't you let us know what are you recommending?
All right, well, this one is on Netflix. It is Darkest Hour. So this is a great movie. It's on mainly Winston Churchill, kind of a focus on him during World War II, kind of right when he came into power as prime minister. It's just an excellent focus on that because there's so much World War II content out there, which is great. And of course, it's a huge war. There's a lot of storylines, and it's wonderful that there's these different elements. But it was really good to see Churchill in a really focused way, the performance by the actor, who I don't know. So again, it's charity that I'm here today. Thank you again.
I believe it was Gary Oldman.
Thank you.
I knew this is the one that finally won him his Oscar.
Yeah.
So I don't think he had ever won an Oscar despite all of his roles.
It was Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman, and it just does a great job of covering it. But again, too, like you say, the true story thing, too. I mean, it kind of made it seem like he was maybe more unpopular than he was because he literally, both parties of the parliament, basically, like the only few times were like, we want you to be the prime minister versus, one party votes the other way. But Gary Oldman, fantastic. It's a great one. It's got his great speeches. We will fight them on the beaches. We will fight them. But not that accent. Yuck. But anyway, great movie. Check it out. Stream it.
So we've got business backstabbing, World War II, and then I am going to recommend Monsters University.
All right, there we go. Very diverse mix
the
here.
kids movie here. I saw Lightyear last week. I realized I had a lot of gaps in my Pixar lineup because I was going to rank all the Pixar movies, and I was like, I'm missing a lot more than I thought.
Oh, yeah.
So
sure.
I realized I'd seen parts of Monsters University, and I never really got into it. But it's because I never watched it straight through. So I actually sat down, watched it straight through. I, generally speaking, do not like prequels. I have a whole thing about that. This one I actually kind of enjoyed.
Okay.
And for me, considering how much I hate prequels, that's a pretty good recommend. I know it doesn't sound like it, but that's like me giving it 2 thumbs up there as far as prequels go. But that is going to do it for us on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. Please, please, please go check out Minnesota Sports Live. By the time this comes out, you'll have an episode this Wednesday, 7 p.m.
You got it.
Weeklies on 7 p.m. live. You guys always have my respect for, in that case, above us doing it live. We record this. I can mold it and shape it however I want. You have to keep the show going on the fly, which is great. Great conversation there about sports and everything.
Sports.
Yeah. But for myself, Matt, Dylan, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.
Holla. Oh, sorry.
I don't know if I quick got it out there in time, but that's gonna be funny.
I think that was right. That was literally right as he going.